is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
In the headlines, the persistent presence of the Philippine National Police around the KOJC compound in Davao City has become a major cause for concern, according to the KOJC's legal counsel. Do not make rebels out of us. These are the words coming from the administrator of the KOJC over the intimidation tactics by authorities who are supposed to follow their mandate to serve and protect ordinary citizens. Meanwhile, the recent calamity that struck the Philippines is being perceived as a divine judgment against President Marcos Jr.'s administration. The KOJC Administrator has criticized Bongbong Marcos Jr.'s failed flood control projects, which reflect horribly on his ability to manage disaster preparedness. And will Malaysia become the first Southeast Asian country to join BRICS? The nation has submitted its membership application. Russia currently chairs the economic bloc, a country seeking to expand its influence in the global south. I'm Frederico Velloso. Newsline World starts now. The widespread flooding in Metro Manila seems like a judgment coming from above on the current administration after thousands of flood control projects boasted about by Bongbong Marcos Jr. in his third State of the Nation address failed. Here's the report from Hannah Jane Sancho.
Nagsasalita yung presidente natin pero may hustisya kasi ang langit. God is watching. So sa nangyayari ngayon, makikita natin, pinapakita sa mukha natin, anong klaseng pamahalaan meron, anong klaseng utak ng leader meron. Huwag na nating hintayin na meron pang kalamidad kasi sa nangyayari ngayon, we know that God is intervening in this country.
This is the statement of Sister Eleanor Cardona, the Executive Secretary of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, at a press conference held last Friday, July 26. To recall, in his third State of the Nation address, President Bongbong Marcos Jr. boasted thousands of flood control projects and massive cleanup drives, and these were immediately put to the test. However, the result was great devastation, with widespread flooding that caused a state of calamity in various parts of Luzon due to the torrential rains brought by the southwest monsoon or Habagat and Typhoon Karina. According to the Executive Secretary of KOJC, this is a divine judgment on the current leadership of the Philippines.
Talagang ang Diyos na rin ang parang nag-intervene. Totoo. Kasi sa mga nangyayari ngayon, kagaya nga ang nature na ngayon ang parang humuhusga sa mga sinasabi ng ating presidente. Nakikita natin kung ano na ang nangyayari ngayong hatol sa nangyayari sa ating bansa.
Tons of garbage piled up on the streets. Last week, aside from climate change, Marcos also blamed the public for improper waste disposal, which caused severe flood in Metro Manila. However, according to Sister Cardona,
walang nakapigil. Ang dami pa niyang reason kung bakit ganon. Marami silang alibay. Ito yung itsura ng Pilipinas ngayon. Trash, basura, kalamidad. Nagre-reflect yan, di ba, sa utak ng leader. Kung ano ang leader, yun yung nakikita natin.
Meanwhile, SMNI anchors criticized the government's failed disaster response.
30 hours pa po after nag-react si Mr. Marcos na bumabaha na at nalulunod ang mamamayan sa Metro Manila at sa paligid ng mga rehiyon. Hindi nyo ba nararamdaman ito? 30 hours bago mag-react ang presidente, and the only thing that he can do is magkaway-kaway sa military truck at magbigay ng abubot at adborluloy sa mga tao. And he cannot command a conference how to orchestrate a whole of government mobilization in times of crisis. Failure of leadership, miserable failure of governance ang nakikita natin kay Mr. Marcos.
Sana magising-gising na rin po ang ating Pangulo dahil iba ho ang kumilos pag Panginoon na. Kasi kung nakita nyo naman yung nangyari sa SONA pinagyabang ninyo yung achievement yung basura at yung achievement nyo sa baha. Kinabukasan, tinambakan ng basura at ng baha. Yun po ay, ayan ay sabi nga ng iba ano na po yan, galaw na po ng Diyos yan.
Kung maayos yung leader, maayos yung kanyang pag-iisip, maayos yung kanyang pamamahala, hindi hahantong sa ganito ang sitwasyon ng ating bansa.
In the end, the KOJC urged the people to wake up and not wait for another disaster to occur due to the failed government of the current administration.
For our part, sa KOJC, nakita naman natin, maraming nagtetestify, hindi lang kami, parang self-serving magsalita. Pero, kung napapansin nyo, kung ano ang kultura ng kingdom, kung ano ang kultura ng mga mamamayan, kung anong nasa isip, nagre-reflect kasi yun kung anong kapaligiran natin. Kaya nananawagan na kami ngayon sa Pilipinas, ano ba talaga ang dapat na magiging leader natin dito sa bansa? Kailangan talagang matino. Mag-isip-isip na tayo kung tama pa ba? Nasa tamang pag-iisip pa ba? Yung pamahalaan natin sa nangyari ngayong kalamidad, hintay pa ba tayo ng ibang kalamidad? Huwag na natin pong hintayin na meron na namang judgment na magbababat sa bansang ito at sa pamahalaang ito.
The KOJC reminds those behind efforts to bring down Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy and the KOJC that evil will never prevail. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, this has been Hannah Jane Sancho, SMLine News.
Indigenous Blaan victims of the illegal search operation conducted by the CIDG-PNP staff in Kitbog, Sarangani Province on June 10 have filed new and multiple cases in Sarangani Province. Details from Jean Domingo.
After the legal search operation conducted by CIDG-PNP staff in Kitbog, Sarangani Province on June 10, the indigenous Blaan victims have filed additional cases in Sarangani Province. It can be recalled that the search operation was illegal, not only because the indigenous community was not included in the areas that should be searched on June 10, but also because the police forcibly evicted the indigenous people from their homes at 3 in the morning using high-caliber weapons. No one was spared. Children or the elderly, even those who were ill, were forced out, causing intense fear and trauma, which eventually led to the death of 2 indigenous people. The deceased were from the Lagunsay family, including William Lagunsay's father and wife. According to the survivors of the victims, the deaths were caused by the intense fear and trauma experienced. Based on the account of William Lagunsay, they even prepared coffee and invited the police into their home, not thinking it would lead to the death of his father and wife. Meanwhile, some of the cases filed in Sarangani Province by the Bilaans, as promised in their pursuit of justice with the help of the KOJC Legal Counsel, include violation of domicile, other forms of trespass, grave coercion, interruption of religious worship, offending religious feelings, arbitrary detention, grave threat, and unjust fixation. The only unified request of the complainants is to attain justice, and because of this, the KOJC Legal Counsel announced that more cases are being prepared for the grievous actions of the police on June 10 in Sitio Biangan and Buyo-Buyo.
I'd just like to add na even then sa Kitbog, hindi pa yun kumpleto. That was just, yung final today is just the second wave of the cases that we are going to file there in Kitbog alone. So imagine that during June 10 na incident, it was not only Kitbog that was inatake nila. Meron pang Central, meron pang Tamayong. So we are just reporting sa assign sa amin. So second wave in Kitbog, meron pang more na papadating. And we are building more cases, potential cases in Kitbog compound alone.
We filed cases in General Santos, in Alabel, Sarangani Province, against several public officials. And there are 11 complainants who are all indigenous peoples And we filed several cases per person. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One complainant, I think, has 6 cases against these public officials. I will not name you because I want you to be surprised. Because then, at least, you know, it's nice to be surprised. At least it will keep you on your toes. And perhaps make you less onion-skinned. Okay? So, we have 11 complainants who filed various cases, minimum of at least 3 cases per public official. And there are about 8 public officials who are named and several John Does. So, yan po ang mga kaso na na-file na namin. Just to read, violation of domicile, other forms of trespass, grave coercion, interruption of religious worship, offending religious feelings, and arbitrary detention. So, ito po lahat yung sa incident lang po ito sa Kitbog. This has nothing to do yet with the incidents that happened in Prayer Mountain, in Glory Mountain, and here in the central headquarters of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. Sa Kitbog lang po ito, which is a very remote area and involved simple citizens who are indigenous. Those who, when we were asking them to sign, they were saying, mas mabuti pa maghagbas sila kesa sa pumirma kasi hindi ho sila sanay pumirma. May mga iba sa kanila. Mas mabuti pa to gawin nila yon kesa sa pumirma because they are simple folk. But they have filed the cases already and there are 11 people who have filed cases. So please wait for some more. We have some other gifts for you in the future.
For God and my beloved country, this has been Jean Domingo, SMNI News.
Meanwhile, Filipinos continue to question the reality of the Philippines' relationship with the U.S. due to the alleged impending war in Asia, where the country is seen as a merely tool for Americans to launch it, according to a political commentator and writer. One of the current points of contention is the planned $500 million foreign military financing for the Philippines. Ina Mortel has the details.
On July 30, the Philippines and the United States will hold a 2+2 ministerial dialogue in Manila, where the U.S. will formally announce approximately $500 million equivalent to over 29 billion pesos for foreign military financing or FMF. The U.S. Department of Defense had earlier announced its support for the Philippines due to escalating tensions in the South China Sea. However, according to political writer and commentator Ibi Hugalbot, the military aid should be questioned to determine whether it is genuine assistance or not.
Yung FMF po, no? Dalawang klase yan. Merong isang grant, meaning hindi babayaran ng beneficiary country, no? Walang bayad yun, libre yun. Or in a form of a direct loan, which means babayaran mo. Yan ang hindi klaro. So yan ang dapat itanong natin bukas kina Secretary Blinken at Secretary Lloyd Austin.
Hugalbot made this statement during the North U.S. Viewing Proxy War Forum held on Monday. Hugalbot further stated that based on the planned U.S. military aid to the Philippines, the so-called friendship between the two countries is dubious. This is because out of the $81 billion total U.S. foreign military financing, $61 billion is allocated to Ukraine and $18 billion to Taiwan, while only a mere $500 million is designated for the Philippines.
Almost 80 billion of the 81 billion goes to just Taiwan and Ukraine. Ang sa atin katiting lang, 500 million. That's just 0.63%. Not even 1% of the entire 81 billion funding. Kaibigan ka ba? Hindi nga umabot ng 1% yung ibibigay mo? At questionable pa nga kung libre ba yun or babayaran mo.
Hugalbot also highlighted the U.S. military-industrial complex, asserting that the U.S. uses the Philippines as a tool to launch wars.
Ang Pilipinas ay tulad nga ng Ukraine at ng mga iba't ibang bansa, ginagawa lamang instrumento, no? Nito ngang mga Amerikano para mapalawig, no? Ang kanilang military adventurism, yung military interventionism in order to fuel their defense industry, which is a big chunk or a big part of their economy.
Meanwhile, historical records show that the U.S. has been involved in over 100 military conflicts around the world. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, this has been Ina Martel, SMNA News.
Coming up next, Dubai's tourism industry keeps expanding, having welcomed millions of international visitors in the first half of the year. And Japan's controversial gold mine is officially a part of UNESCO's World Heritage Site, but with certain conditions. Stay tuned for more news. Day marked by tensions and allegations of irregularities, Venezuela's National Electoral Council announced the victory of President Nicolas Maduro in the presidential election. However, the opposition claims that they won by a landslide. Let's find out more about this with David Lira.
Incumbent President Nicolas Maduro has won Venezuela's presidential election. According to Venezuela's National Electoral Council, or CNE, Maduro secured 51.2% of the votes, which is higher compared to 44.2% for opposition candidate Edmundo Gonzalez. The CNE issued the declaration of Maduro's victory after 80% of the votes at the 50,000 polling stations across Venezuela had been counted. Maduro's victory comes hours after the opposition reported a series of irregularities on election day, including closed polling stations, retention of electoral records, and expulsion of election monitors. Hours before the official announcement, the Venezuelan government and the opposition claimed victory based on exit polls. The result announced by the Electoral Council contradicts most pre-election polls. To recall, opposition candidate Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia had been leading in the polls in the run-up to Sunday's election. If confirmed, Maduro's victory is likely to be contested. There is a significant international pressure for the Venezuelan electoral process to be credible and transparent. Amid a tense political climate, Maduro had predicted a bloodbath in the country if he lost the election. More than 21.6 million Venezuelans were eligible to vote, with the voter turnout being recorded at 59%, according to Venezuela's Electoral Council. Meanwhile, shortly after the announcement of the results, Maduro vowed to maintain peace, stability, and justice in the country. This has been David Lira, your global citizen correspondent for SMNI News.
Japan's Sado gold mine gains World Heritage status after Tokyo agreed to include an exhibit of World War II history. Ria Saito for the details.
The UNESCO World Heritage Committee decided to register Japan's Sado Island gold mine as a cultural heritage site. According to UNESCO, the Sado Island gold mines are a serial property located on Sado Island, some 35 kilometers west of the Niigata Prefecture coast. It is formed of several component parts illustrative of different unmechanized mining methods. Sado Gold Mine was once the largest gold mine complex in the world, and it was approved for inscription on the UNESCO World Heritage List at a committee hearing in India. To recall, South Korea initially opposed its registration, saying that the mining complex was the site of forced labor involving Koreans during the World War II. In response to this, UNESCO recommended to Japan that it should develop facilities that comprehensively comprehensively address at a site level the whole history of the nominated property throughout all periods of mining exploitation. After negotiating for months, the Japanese government agreed to set up an exhibit about the working conditions of the Sado Gold Mine Aikawa History Museum on Sado Island. Japan also said that it would hold an annual memorial event on the island for the wartime laborers. A South Korean representative consented to the registration of the mining complex. Following the Sado Gold Mine's inclusion to the World Heritage List, the South Korean Foreign Ministry said it hopes Japan will take faithful measures and continue efforts to improve ties between Japan and South Korea. Reporting from Tokyo, Japan, this has been Ria Saito, your global citizen correspondent for God and our beloved country, the Philippines.
Back in the news, millions of tourists visited Dubai in the first half of the year, a significant increase over the tourist arrivals in the same period last year. Valdim Negracia reports.
9.31 million international oversight visitors traveled to Dubai from January to June 2024. According to the Dubai Department of Economy and Tourism, or DET, this is a 9% increase over the 8.55 million tourist arrivals in the same period last year. The agency also reported that Dubai achieved impressive growth in key markets in the first half of 2024 due to DET's targeted campaigns in collaboration with domestic stakeholders and over 3,000 global partners in 80 markets. Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the Crown Prince of Dubai, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Defense of the UAE and Chairman of the Executive Council of Dubai, hailed this achievement as a testament to the city's ability to foster productive public-private partnerships and build extensive global networks of collaboration. Sheikh Hamdan urged all industry stakeholders to strengthen partnerships with key markets, explore new opportunities, and enhance Dubai's position. Dubai's growing tourism aligns with the first year of the Dubai Economic Agenda D33, which aims to solidify further Dubai's position as a leading global destination for business and leisure. Reporting for Newsline World, this is Valdivina Gracia, SMNI News.
Malaysia has sent its application to join the BRICS economic group, confident that Russia will back the Southeast Asia countries' bid to join the bloc. Anissa de Guzman will give us more details.
Malaysia has sent an application to join BRICS, as announced by the country's Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim on Sunday. The Southeast Asian countries sent the application to Russia, the rotating chair of the BRICS for this year. According to the Malaysian Prime Minister's office, discussions with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov during his two-day working visit centered on Malaysia's desire to join the BRICS organization. Besides Malaysia's BRICS application, the talks covered various aspects of bilateral cooperation, including investment and trade, science and technology, agriculture, defense and military, education, and tourism and culture. Prime Minister Anwar emphasized that the discussion mainly focused on Malaysia's recent application for BRICS membership. Anwar highlighted that potential membership offers significant promise for both nations and reflects their commitment to strengthening international collaboration. Lavrov responded by expressing Russia's support for Malaysia's interests in BRICS and pledged to help promote these interests. Originally formed by Brazil, Russia, India, and China in 2006, the economic bloc became BRICS with South Africa's inclusion in 2010. It has since expanded to include Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. Meanwhile, aside from Malaysia, Thailand has also expressed a willingness to join BRICS as soon as possible. Reporting from Thailand, I'm Anissa de Guzman, your global citizen correspondent for God in our beloved country, the Philippines.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the Sun. Discipline and sacrifice are the ingredients to success. That's all for this edition. For more news update, you may visit smnichannel.com or follow us in our official social media accounts on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. God and Country, I'm Frederico Velloso, and this is Newsline World.